I am literally still laughing about that text you sent me like 10 minutes before we started recording, honestly.
Look, it was a tragedy. I mean, an absolute slow-motion tragedy playing out right in my kitchen.
Oh, you have to spill the tea. You have to tell everyone listening what actually happened.
Okay, so I had on this fresh, crisp, white shirt. Literally the only white shirt I own that actually fits right now without, pulling at the button.
Oh, no.
Right. So I've got my morning coffee. I'm feeling very put together, very professional, and
I can already see exactly where this is going.
the travel lid just gave up. A complete structural failure of the highest order. Just a massive wave of dark roast straight down the front.
The panic in your text was palpable.
Mm.
I was fully expecting you to show up to the mic wearing a winter coat zipped all the way up to your chin just to hide it.
I seriously considered it. I mean, I spent 20 minutes trying to figure out how to fold my arms, like how to sit at the desk, how to contort my posture so nobody would notice.
Yeah, you just turn into a pretzel.
Exactly. It's amazing how one tiny, completely mundane thing can instantly dictate your entire physical presence for the day. You immediately start calculating how to hide yourself from the world.
You know, it's actually funny you mentioned that specific feeling, that constant calculation of how to hide, because today, for this deep dive for the PlacidWay Pulse, we're looking at a system where buying a luxury car is somehow cheaper than replacing your own teeth.
Yeah.
And speaking of that text, it actually reminds me of Marcus and that wild situation he went through recently, because that feeling you had this morning altering how you move to hide a stain.
Right.
That was his entire life for years. But obviously the stakes were just a bit higher than a ruined shirt.
A lot higher. I mean, he was hiding his own smile.
Exactly. So for those of you joining us, Marcus's story is really the foundation for what we're unpacking today. We're looking at the very real, often hidden world of dental tourism in Los Algodones, Mexico.
Which is such a fascinating place.
It really is. But before we even get to the border crossing and the clinics, we really need to understand the absolute emotional weight of what he was dealing with. Because I look at Marcus now and he's so confident. Wait, seriously, how does someone even get to the point where they feel completely trapped by their own teeth?
Well, what's fascinating and honestly heartbreaking is how gradual the descent is. It doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
For Marcus and for thousands of people listening right now in similar situations, it usually starts with just a subtle ache, a cracked molar that you ignore.
Just popping some ibuprofen and hoping it goes away.
Exactly. Or maybe a failed root canal, a bridge that just won't hold anymore. And because of busy schedules or sheer dental anxiety, it just gets pushed off.
And then one day it can't be pushed off anymore.
Yeah, and the psychological toll is profound. I mean, Marcus spent years basically training himself not to show his teeth.
Wow.
Think about what that does to a person's brain. Every single laugh is calculated. He perfected this tight lips, closed mouth smile for family photographs.
Just completely guarded all the time.
Totally guarded. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it strips away your professional confidence. He works in a public-facing career, giving presentations, and he felt entirely disconnected from the vibrant, outgoing person he used to be.
And it's not just the smiling part, right? It's the sheer mechanics of eating. I remember him telling me he had to completely give up crisp apples, crusty bread, even a good steak.
Oh yeah, the diet changes are huge.
He was forced onto this strict, completely uninspiring soft food diet, just smoothies and broth, constantly navigating what he could and couldn't chew without pain.
We really do take the simple act of chewing for granted, but the physical reality of tooth loss is brutal. And it goes far beyond just the visible part of the tooth.
What do you mean?
Well, when you lose a tooth, you don't just lose the crown, the white part you see, you lose the root.
Okay, stop there for a second. Why does the root matter so much if you can just, chew on your gums or use traditional dentures?
Because of biomechanics. That root is anchored into your jawbone. Every time you bite down, that root sends physical stimulation down into the bone.
Okay.
It basically tells your body, hey, we are using this bone, send calcium, keep it strong.
Oh, wow.
Right? So when the root is gone, the body essentially thinks that portion of the jaw is obsolete. So it begins to reabsorb the bone tissue. It's a medical process called alveolar bone resorption.
Wait, so the bone literally melts away?
It shrinks.
Yeah.
significantly.
Yeah.
Over time, your facial structure actually begins to collapse inward.
That sounds terrifying.
It is. It changes the entire shape of your lower face. It makes you look and feel decades older than you actually are.
Yeah.
And traditional dentures don't stop this process at all because they just rest on top of the gums.
They don't provide that internal pressure.
Exactly. They don't provide that internal bone stimulation.
Okay, let's unpack this pivotal moment for Marcus then, because this is the part that honestly makes my blood boil. He finally hits his breaking point. The soft food, the hiding, the bone loss, it's just too much.
Yeah, he was done.
Right, so he visits a highly rated local prosthodontist in the U.S. And just so we're clear, a prosthodontist is basically like an architect for the mouth, right? A specialist in rebuilding and replacing teeth.
Correct. They undergo additional years of specialized training specifically for complex restorations.
So he goes to this specialist, he goes through the lengthy exam, dozens of x-rays, sitting in that cold consultation room, just waiting for the verdict.
The dreaded wait.
Seriously. The treatment coordinator walks in and hands him a quote for a full mouth restoration with implants, the total, over $35,000.
Just unbelievable.
And in some of the materials out there, people are getting quoted upwards of $45,000 or even $60,000 for this work.
It is a staggering number. It's essentially a down payment on a house or an entire annual salary for some folks just presented as a medical bill.
And his insurance, I actually asked him about this, they pitifully classified the ability to chew solid food as cosmetic.
Of course they did.
They offered a tiny maximum coverage of maybe $1,500 for the entire year. It's infuriating. I mean, why does the healthcare system price the ability to smile and eat like it's some VIP luxury package?
It's a great question, and it raises a massive structural issue about how domestic systems view dental health versus general medical health.
Like they're two totally different bodies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Historically, medicine and dentistry were separated centuries ago. Physicians dealt with the body, and barbers or tradesmen dealt with teeth.
Wait, barbers?
Yeah, literally barbers pulling teeth.
Yeah.
And that historical divide carried over into modern insurance models. Dental insurance hasn't really evolved. That $1,500 maximum you mentioned,
Yeah.
that standard was set in the 1970s and rarely adjusted for inflation.
So if you break an arm, you're covered. But if the very gateway to your digestive system breaks down, you are entirely on your own. Make it make sense.
You really can't. That is the harsh reality.
Yeah.
And for Marcus, he left that clinic feeling utterly hopeless. The financial barrier was a massive wall blocking his path to a normal life. He was wrestling with the absolute injustice of being priced out of basic human dignity.
I can't even fathom sitting in my car, weeping out of pure frustration, staring at a $35,000 piece of paper. But that is exactly when he discovered the concept of medical tourism.
A total game changer.
Right. Specifically, Los Algodones. Now, I know Marcus pretty well. He's highly analytical. He doesn't just jump into things. So when he saw this, he was immediately hit with a massive wave of anxiety.
Which is completely understandable. Los Algodones, globally known as Molar City, boasts over 300 dental clinics packed into just a few square miles.
300.
Yeah, it is literally the dental capital of the world.
But if I'm putting myself in his shoes, how do you blindly choose a doctor when there are over 300 options? We're talking about a complex, invasive surgical procedure in a foreign country. You can't just pick the one with the brightest neon sign.
You absolutely cannot. And that is exactly where PlacidWay became his lifeline. When we look at how patients successfully navigate international healthcare, they rarely do it alone.
Right, you need a guide.
Exactly. PlacidWay didn't just send Marcus a generic link or like a Yellow Pages directory of clinics and wish him luck. They provided a fully managed roadmap.
A roadmap. Walk me through what that actually looks like in practice, because I'm always a bit skeptical of anyone just brokering medical care.
Sure. It starts with a dedicated patient coordinator. Their first job isn't to sell a clinic, it's to understand the patient.
Okay, that makes sense.
They collected his dental records, his panoramic x-rays, and his U.S. treatment plans. Then, they handled the case assignment. They took all his clinical data and connected him directly to a vetted, top-tier specialist. Facilities like All-on-X Dental Studio or Care Smile Center.
Let me stop you right there for a second, because whenever a third party is setting up medical appointments, the immediate question is about cost and hitting motives.
Right, the financial transparency.
Exactly. How does this platform actually operate financially? I want to know who is paying whom.
It's a vital distinction to make. PlacidWay operates on a clear administrative service fee,
Meaning what, exactly?
meaning the fee covers the management, the logistics, and the coordination of your care pathway.
Okay.
The medical costs of the actual surgery are pure, transparent, and entirely between the patient and the clinic. The administrative service fee just ensures you have that dedicated, vetted roadmap to get you to the right specialist without wandering blindly.
Okay, I love that. So you aren't paying inflated surgical costs just to cover a middleman. That transparency is huge. So they match him with a clinic that specializes in his specific needs. What happens next? Does he just book a flight and hope for the best?
Not at all. PlacidWay arranged a comprehensive virtual video consultation. Marcus was sitting right at his kitchen table in the U.S., and he looked his Mexican-led implantologist in the eye through the screen.
I have to push back here a little bit. How do you actually trust a doctor you've only met through a laptop screen? I mean, surgery is so intimate. You are letting someone drill into your skull.
It's a completely fair question. But what's fascinating is that this virtual consult was actually more comprehensive than the in-person consultation he had at the local U.S. clinic.
Wait, really? How is that possible?
The doctor in Mexico didn't just have a casual chat. He pulled up Marcus's 3D scans and shared his screen. He walked him step by step through the entire topographical architecture of his mouth.
Oh, wow. So he's looking at his own skull on the screen.
Yes. For 45 minutes, this lead implantologist explained the bone grafting process. He explained what an all-on-X procedure is.
Which is what, exactly?
For context, it's a technique where an entire arch of teeth is supported by just 4 to 6 strategically placed titanium implants.
Got it.
So he showed him exactly where those titanium posts would be anchored into the strongest parts of his bone. His English was impeccable, his empathy was so evident, and he offered completely transparent pricing with zero hidden fees.
That is incredible. All the mystery is just removed before he ever leaves his house. The fear of the unknown is replaced with a concrete, personalized medical plan.
Exactly.
Right?
It reframes the entire narrative from, I'm rolling the dice in another country to I'm consulting with a world-class surgeon who has a specific blueprint for my jaw.
Okay, so the plan is set, the dates are locked in. Let's talk about the actual destination, because this is where my mind was completely blown by Marcus's experience. He has to actually get to Molar City.
The logistics of the journey are surprisingly simple. Most patients fly into Yuma, Arizona, or they drive directly to the border at Andrade, California.
Yeah.
You literally park your car in a massive, secure parking lot on the U.S. side. And then you just walk across the border.
He told me the moment you cross, it's like stepping into a town that was custom built for international patients.
It really is an anomaly. Los Algodones is incredibly pedestrian-friendly, vibrant, and above all, safe.
That's so good to hear.
It is an entire microeconomy built completely on providing high-quality care to Americans and Canadians.
Yeah.
The clinics are generally just a short 2-minute walk from the border checkpoint.
I have to admit, when I first heard the phrase border town clinic, I had a very specific, slightly gritty image in my head.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Like cinder block walls, flickering fluorescent lights. But listening to his description, it sounds less like a dusty clinic and more like walking into a high-end Silicon Valley tech hub.
That Silicon Valley analogy is spot on. The clinical standard is staggering, and it shatters preconceptions the minute you walk through the glass doors. We are talking about pristine, spotless facilities.
Right.
They are equipped with state-of-the-art panoramic imaging machines and 3D digital scanners.
Oh, and I know they use CAD/CAM technology there. What does that actually mean for the patient, practically speaking?
CAD/CAM stands for computer-aided design and computer-aided manufacturing. Instead of taking those awful gooey molds of your teeth and mailing them off to a lab for 2 weeks, they use a wand to take a highly precise 3D digital scan of your mouth.
Oh, thank goodness. I hate those molds.
Everyone does. Then software designs the teeth, and an in-house milling machine carves them out of a solid block of material right there in the clinic.
That is wild. But what about the materials themselves? Because that's always the lingering fear, right? That it's cheaper in Mexico because they are using subpar knockoff metals.
That is one of the biggest myths we absolutely need to bust. These top-tier clinics use the exact same premium titanium implants, brands like Nobel Biocare or Straumann, that you find in the most extensive U.S. clinics.
Then how on earth is it 70% cheaper? I mean, make it make sense.
It really just comes down to macroeconomics.
Yeah.
The cost difference is tied to the local economy. Real estate is cheaper.
Right.
The administrative overhead is a fraction of what it is in the U.S. Malpractice insurance costs are totally different. And importantly, dental education is often heavily subsidized in Mexico.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, meaning these specialists aren't graduating with $500,000 in student loan debt that they have to pass on to the patient. You are paying for the materials and the expertise, not the bloated U.S. overhead.
That makes total sense. And he said the staff was amazing. Everyone spoke perfect English. They greeted him by his first name, and they treated him with immense empathy.
It really makes a difference.
And getting work done there isn't just a clinical experience. It's a cultural one, too. He wasn't just sitting in a sterile waiting room all day.
No, not at all. A day of discovery in Molar City is actually woven into the healing process. Patients can walk to local spots like El Paraiso, which has this beautiful, lush garden patio,
Sounds amazing.
or Mi Casa as su casa. You can sit in the warm desert air, enjoy authentic Mexican flavors while sticking to the softer foods your dentist recommends, and just decompress.
Right.
You can browse the local markets for handmade crafts, jewelry, or leather goods.
It honestly sounds like a mini vacation that just happens to include a life-changing medical procedure. It takes this terrifying clinical event and turns it into an empowering trip.
It does. It removes the clinical sterility and replaces it with hospitality.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. The transformation. Let's get into the surgical chair. What actually happens during the procedure? Because bone grafting and drilling sound medieval.
I know, it sounds intense.
Yeah.
But the day of the surgery, the medical team goes over that 3D imaging plan one last time to ensure absolute precision.
Okay.
The procedure itself is incredibly streamlined. Under local anesthesia and light sedation, Marcus felt pressure, but no pain.
That is the ultimate goal. Pressure, no pain.
Exactly. The surgical team works with this synchronized efficiency. They handle any necessary extractions, they place the bone grafts if the jaw has started to recede, and then comes the precise placement of the titanium implants.
Wow.
A few hours later, he woke up in a recovery area with ice packs. He experienced manageable soreness, not the agonizing pain he expected.
That's a huge relief.
And crucially, because of that CAD/CAM technology, he woke up with a perfectly fitted set of temporary teeth attached to the implants.
Wait, really? So he didn't have to walk around without teeth for months while he healed?
Nope, he had teeth the same day.
That is huge for mental health.
Exactly. Then begins the healing journey back home in the U.S. This is the biological process of osseointegration.
Osseointegration. Okay, I've been trying to wrap my head around this. Is it kind of like planting a tree?
How do you mean?
Like you don't just stick a branch in the dirt and expect it to hold. The roots have to actually intertwine with the soil so it can withstand the storm. Is that what the titanium does with the jawbone?
That's a fantastic analogy, yes. Titanium is a uniquely biocompatible metal. The bone doesn't reject it as a foreign object.
Oh, that's cool.
Over a period of 3 to 6 months, the living bone cells literally grow into the microscopic grooves of the titanium post. It fuses completely, becoming an artificial root that is just as strong, if not stronger, than a natural tooth root.
And while this tree is taking root, so to speak, PlacidWay doesn't just disappear once he crosses the border back into California, right?
No, their involvement is continuous. They keep the communication lines open, checking in on his recovery, ensuring he could easily relay any questions or concerns directly to his clinical team in Mexico.
Okay, fast forward. The bone has fully healed. The titanium is permanently integrated. The foundation is rock solid. Marcus goes back down to Mexico for the final step.
Yes, the placement of the final permanent zirconia prosthetics.
Zirconia? Why not just porcelain or acrylic?
Zirconia is incredible. It is a highly durable, biocompatible ceramic. It's virtually indestructible, meaning it won't chip or stain like acrylic or porcelain can.
Oh, nice.
But even more importantly, it mimics the translucency of natural teeth. It reflects light the exact same way human enamel does, so it doesn't look flat or fake.
He told me about the moment they placed them. The dentist cements the last permanent zirconia arch, adjusts the bite, and hands him a mirror. And he just broke down in tears in the chair.
It is the emotional climax of the entire journey. You have to understand, you aren't just looking at new teeth in that mirror. You are looking at a version of yourself that no longer has to hide.
He is finally whole again. I mean, he can bite into a steak without a second thought. He can laugh out loud without his hand instinctively flying up to cover his mouth.
Yeah, the freedom must be incredible.
At work, he stands taller. He projects authority and confidence again. He got his absolute dignity back.
And he accomplished all of this for a fraction of the cost. We're talking about savings of up to 70% compared to his local U.S. quote.
Mind-blowing.
He saved tens of thousands of dollars without compromising a single ounce of quality, safety, or technological advancement.
So what does this all mean for you? If you are listening to this right now and you are sitting at your kitchen table looking at an outrageous, completely out of reach medical estimate, if you feel trapped by your own body, forced to live behind a closed-mouth smile, chewing on one side of your mouth because the system has priced you out of basic health, you need to hear this.
Absolutely. There are safe, highly regulated, world-class options available that bypass that system entirely.
You do not have to accept financial ruin just to be able to chew your food. Your confidence is worth more than your zip code.
That is exactly the takeaway.
It is the absolute truth. Your confidence is worth more than your zip code. If you are ready to take control of your health and stop letting geography dictate your dignity, you need to go to PlacidWay.com.
Highly recommended.
You can get a free, completely transparent assessment and start building your own managed roadmap to a new smile today. Again, that is PlacidWay.com.
It really is the first step toward reclaiming the life you used to have.
And we want to leave you with a final thought today. Something to mull over as you go about your day, maybe as you drink your coffee, hopefully without spilling it down your shirt.
Take too soon?
If top-tier technology, premium materials, and world-class surgical expertise are readily available globally at a fraction of the cost, how much longer can domestic healthcare systems justify gatekeeping basic human dignity behind a luxury price tag?
It's a system that relies entirely on us believing we have no other choice.
Exactly. What happens to that entire system when patients realize the border isn't a barrier, but a gateway? Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember that a new beginning might just be a border away.